And we are live. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Today is April 30th.
Hold on.
That's the level of energy I'm bringing tonight. Let's wake the fuck up. It's
Samurai?
April 30th. It's a beautiful day. Spring is in full-fledged mode.
It is.
That's not even fair because you're like, you better match my energy when I send this to you, Dylan. And then you open up like that.
It's required.
No one can match that
Let's
energy.
fucking go, boys. Dylan,
Yes.
what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about... There.
You guys can fucking spaz
Oh,
out.
yeah. Drink that Coke, man. Let it hit.
But seriously, I wanted us to start talking about how do you guys feel about streaming services putting movies in movie theaters?
Like if Netflix does like a theatrical release for theater?
I don't know of an example of Netflix doing it, but like Apple, they recently did the Argyle movie. I personally really like that movie. I know some people weren't big fans.
I didn't know
of it.
that was an Apple film.
Yeah, it's Apple TV original. It's made by the same people who made Kingsman, but it came out in theaters, and then now it's on Apple TV. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I fucking love it. I've been saying this for a while. I think I don't know how well it translates for a movie release because I don't know. I don't really see a lot of times that they market these well in advance.
Exactly.
It's sort of a different model.
The issue that happened, I think, with Argyle, because I don't think it made money,
Yeah.
and I don't think they marketed it well.
But if like HBO, let's just take the Game of Thrones at its
Yeah.
peak, I would have absolutely paid money to go and watch sort of their episodic releases, for not a full movie price. I think probably like $8, but something to get you in to buy popcorn and stuff. I would have absolutely probably done that with the wife and seen an episode of Game of Thrones in the big theater, especially if I knew it was like, because they always did those big releases, like episode 9 was the big one, where like everything happened, and then 10 was like to let it go cold for until the next year.
Yeah.
So like I would absolutely pay to go see 9 in the theater because that was like usually where they blew their load in terms of CGI, especially with like the dragon stuff in the later seasons. So I don't know how. Yeah, it's sort of it's tougher to do with a movie. I think I don't know how they don't really have like a marketing budget, right? Their marketing budget is to drive you to the platform.
Yeah.
Right. It's not to advertise specifically their products on the platform. So they'd have to change up their model a little bit, but I'm down for it. What you guys have on tonight before this? Raising Cane's. I'm a Caniac.
Love and
I'm a
Loyalty.
Caniac.
It was laced, apparently.
We
I added salt. Yeah.
Fucking wild.
I'm reaching. It's a cream and a crop.
We had him specially fill his soda with something special.
There's actually stipulation to like award seasons where to be considered for movie categories, like at the Oscars or what have you, that there has to be some type of theater release.
Huh.
So all these Netflix streaming movies that like win Oscars or whatever, not that they're like, winning, most of them aren't winning Oscars, but these streaming services films, they all already have a limited release, but it's almost like indie style. It's not really going to be at your theater, but like Amazon, there's this one movie that swept the awards with Casey Affleck. I forget what it was called, but that was an Amazon movie, and that had a limited release, and because of that, then it was able to be nominated for all these other awards. So they all already release for a short period of time,
Just so they fall in that
just
category.
so they can be able to be nominated for an Oscar or what have you.
Huh. So, have you guys seen Argyle?
No. Henry Cavill?
Yeah.
Lord of the Nerds?
Lord of the Nerds. He's not even in it that much. Sam Rockwell is like a big
Dude, I love Sam Rockwell.
and then Ron Howard's daughter. What's her name?
Jessica Howard? I don't...
She's in Jurassic World.
Yeah, I forget her name, though.
Oh.
She also played Gwen Stacy
She did. That's
in
right.
the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. What is her name?
Her last name is Howard.
Howard. Oh, dude, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Right, there we go. Yeah. I recommend it. I thought it was a really good movie. And it makes me really appreciate Sam. What did I say his name was?
And you didn't appreciate him that much.
Well, I want to say
Sam
Sam
Rockwell.
Lake. Sam Lake is from
Sam Rockwell.
Remedy. Well, Sam Rockwell. Anyways, I didn't appreciate him that much, I guess, because I forgot his name right
I
after
saw
I
this
said
video on YouTube where it was like,
it. That's Sam Lake. Max Payne.
Sam Lake.
He's in Alan Wake.
He kind of looks like
He does. I know exactly what you're saying.
The
The guy
dude-
from Community.
Joel
Oh.
McHale?
he does kind of
Yeah.
look like Joel McHale.
Kyle was thinking somebody else.
I
Conan
was.
O'Brien. Was the hair?
I was
right here?
thinking of
Definitely not.
oh god, I'm so bad with names tonight.
Yeah, usually you're like, bam, right there.
The guy Jack Quaid,
Jack Quaid.
I think is his name. He's younger than that guy.
Oh, okay.
Who the heck is this?
He's from The Boys.
Is Dennis Quaid's
It's
son.
Dennis Quaid's son.
And Meg
He
Ryan's
is?
son.
Yeah, nepotism.
He's Meg Ryan.
There, I'm sharing the second screen now.
Dennis
is
Quaid
Jack
and Meg
Quaid.
Ryan had a kid?
Evidently, they had Jack.
Wow.
He's had
Nepotism.
He's had an uphill battle his whole life to get into the industry.
Really had to fight.
It was very
Meg
hard.
Ryan and Dennis Quaid. Not to take away from any of his
First-
accomplishments, but
He was in Oppenheimer.
He was. He's like one of the scientists that they bring in.
Oh, I didn't even know
is
that.
he one of the like politically charged ones?
No, he doesn't even really do much besides he like brings one proposal up and he's like, check this out. And then that's
Look at this.
yeah.
Look at this report.
Science.
Oh, he was in the hallway.
I'm sciencing right now.
There's this famous scene that you walked
Yep.
by him in the hallway. Yeah.
He's right there.
The top thing on Reddit said, "No offense, but why is Jack Quaid in this movie?" Like,
That's pretty sad.
There was a few actors in that movie that I kind of felt like, why do we need them?
like Josh from Drake and Josh
Just
was in Oppenheimer.
yeah.
He's the guy that pulled the switch.
I'm not questioning any of that. I think they wanted to be a part of something amazing, and they were.
I think everyone just wants to be a part of Christopher Nolan
Yeah.
films.
Part of him.
Everyone,
They want a piece of that ass.
everybody wants to be in them,
Everybody wants to be in his
or have
In
him
him.
and them.
in his mind, right?
Yeah, I'm talking. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
What are you?
What are you guys
Frickin'
talking about?
creeper.
His artistic process.
Yeah.
Getting
Where
inside
he goes
other people.
really deep. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
He gets
They
deep,
reach deep inside
Mhm.
and discover their natural
super
talent.
deep,
They want to be touched by him. In a
in
certain
an
way.
artistic way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Good. Glad
I-
we're on the same page now.
But yeah.
So
So
what were we talking about?
we were talking about Sam Rockwell and how I think
Sam
he's a great
Rockwell.
actor.
You know his God, I just had a voice crack. Sam Rockwell.
Hi.
Sam Rockwell.
Every actor has like their thing, their shtick, what they do. Sam Rockwell, I didn't even put this together. He dances.
Yep.
In every movie he's in. He's got like a dance scene. in it.
Charlie's Angels.
Even in Iron Man, he dances when he goes up on stage.
Yep.
Every movie he's in, he's got like some kind of little dance scene. And he's
How do you-
actually not bad.
How does he throw that by the director? Like, I'm gonna walk on this stage. I'm just gonna hit a little twirl. What do you think,
he
Somehow
probably
they write
just
it
does
in.
it.
John Favreau? What do you think? What do you think? Little dance number here.
This is the guy that John Favreau casted Robert Downey Jr. when no one else wanted to. I'm pretty sure he's pretty loose. What was?
Just do whatever the fuck you. Just say the lines. Okay?
say the
Do
lines.
whatever you-
lines.
He's like, what if I had a little razzle dazzle?
As long as you say the lines, you do whatever the fuck you want.
He's like,
He's just
sweet.
delivering a super straightforward line, like, "Oh yeah." It's like,
Sam
I
Rockwell.
don't think we
in that
can
movie,
do that.
I would love. I would love
I don't
to
even
see
know
more,
any of this. What this guy does.
I would love to see more Justin Hammer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he was very underrated in that. I feel like he was more compelling than Mickey Rourke's character.
100%.
I love that scene.
conniving. It's like the opposite of Iron Man. If Iron
Yeah.
Man kept following his, shystery.
I love that scene when he's like selling all of his weapons to the government.
This is
His
the
pitch?
ex-wife.
His pitch is so good. And like And then he didn't die in that movie, did he? He just went to jail.
I
think he just went to prison.
Yeah. Unless maybe he did die.
That was like so long. That was like 2010
Isn't that crazy?
MCU years. That's like decades ago, multiple, because they've now done like time jumps with
So-
the whole 5 years thing.
How's X-Men 97 going? I watched the first episode finally. I enjoyed it.
Dude, it's
I thought
so
it was good.
The first episode is not nothing compared to like where it's at. First episode is good. It
Yeah,
grabbed me, but
I thought
it's-
it was good.
but it's very everything feels all like shit hits the fan real quick.
Uh-huh.
It feels all right. Like we're the X-Men. You know, we're fucking almost like his gripe where it
Team
felt a little
power.
Saturday morning cartoonish.
Yeah.
That goes out the door pretty quickly. But I do like that fight scene in the first episode when they took out when they finally got
human-
Trask
Yeah.
or whatever. I love when Gambit charges up Wolverine's claws.
And then he
Like-
jumps on Morph.
Yeah, who turns into like what Blob for a second?
Yeah.
To like blast him up. Morph is I never like I always miss when he transforms.
Uh-huh.
So whenever he transforms into a character, there's always that brief moment like, when did that person get here? Like Quicksilver was in the last episode, but it was Morph as Quicksilver. So when Quicksilver ran in, I was like, holy shit, it's Quicksilver. And then I was like, oh wait, it's just Morph.
It's just Morph. So is it done or there's still...
There's 3 episodes left that I haven't seen.
I heard a theory.
The final 3 episodes is a 3-part finale though, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are they going to release them all at once?
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Billy's
get
going to
Blue Ball
love
week to
this
week.
theory. The theory is that at the end, Spider-Man from the animated Spider-Man show is going to show up.
Dude, Captain America already showed up.
Shit.
Spoiler.
Shit.
Sorry guys.
You just started watching.
It's been out for a week.
It's 3 days.
No, I saw. Watching the show, I totally
of course
forgot
I saw.
that Rogue had superpowers besides killing people with her touch.
Because they don't
In
do
the
it
movies, they
movie.
don't give her, right?
So okay, so here's what people don't know: Rogue, her powers is she saps people's life energy.
I'm dialed in.
All right,
I'm dialed in. I'm ready. Teach me how Rogue. Let's grab the encyclopedia. Let's figure out every
so
single
you've seen
power.
the movies, right? Where
Oh,
she's like, "Oh, I'm too afraid to touch anyone."
And then, like, what's his face can heal it through it, so he can, like, she wants to bang him because of that or something. Wolverine, she's got like daddy issues.
They've never banged, but
I know, but there's like sexual
Maybe.
tension in the movies.
she's a child in the movies.
There's definite sexual tension between her and Wolverine.
It probably just went over
Like
my head.
from her.
From her.
He was like, no,
You're a child.
like exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but she was like,
So-
oh.
Anyways,
Yeah,
in the
anyway.
movies, Rogue does not even get close to her potential. But in the comics, she started off as a bad guy.
Hmm.
And one of the first
She
people
went
she
rogue?
encountered was Captain Marvel. And so she has all the same powers as Captain Marvel because she sapped her powers from her. So Rogue,
Oh, she stores the powers that she saps?
Mhm.
I thought it was only like momentarily. Like
No,
that's
she
how it's in the
can-
movies. She stores
she
them.
just doesn't. She's not as powerful as she could be because she like could kill people when she does it. And so when she became good, she told herself she wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, so
Um,
she can fly. She has super strength. So I'm watching the cartoon and,
and
I'm
you're
like,
like, oh shit.
I'm like, what? What?
whoever she touches.
Yeah.
Hey, let me get some of that. Oh, thank you. See you later.
But that like the only reason Captain Marvel survived is because she is as strong as she is. But that's how she got her.
Is
initial
it
powers.
when does she steal it from you, or does she?
she can
just
mimic it? But
yeah.
most of the time, the person that she takes it from dies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's like it's like a data transfer. It's like
Yeah.
it's got to complete.
but she didn't kill Captain Marvel because of some reason. I don't know the details.
Doesn't she,
Charged up.
in the X-Men, the live action, doesn't she use Wolverine's healing powers
Mhm.
somehow?
But they don't really do her powers.
Yeah,
right
but like,
in the
doesn't
movie.
she's like dying.
She because Wolverine wakes up and stabs her because he's having like
Oh, that's right.
PTSD or something. He's like stabs her, and then she like heals from him, and then everyone shits on her. Like, why would you fucking touch him? And like they make her feel all bad, and it's like she was gonna die. Wolverine literally stabbed her
Yeah.
in the gut. Like that's like a surefire way to die.
And then Storm goes, "Why aren't you proud to be a
Oh god.
Storm?"
Yeah, on X-Men 3, when she's like, it's not a cure because there's nothing wrong with you. Be proud of who you are It's like, okay, you're like a god, and she can't touch people. So, what's the difference here? You know. And I don't know why Magneto's powers cancel out Rogue's. Something to do with his magnetism. I don't know, but he's the only one that can touch her for some reason.
He creates a force field.
I don't know, but
It's their electromagnetic field.
Yeah, she's
I like how in the cartoon they always have to make it like clear when Magneto's using his powers. So like whenever he like touches something, there's like a yellow aura around it. Like it's kind of silly, but like at the same time, it does make it very clear who's doing what when it comes to a fight. Like because it does get a little chaotic to try and figure out what's
Like,
going on.
what's happening? But yeah, so I'm probably gonna finish watching that. I have so much on my list though to watch, including Fallout.
Speaking of which, Fallout was directed. I don't know about all the episodes, but most of them were directed by Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother.
Really?
the better director.
Swear to
The
God.
better director,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Nolan is. What's his work?
Fallout.
He did Westworld.
Oh,
But also Jonathan Nolan, he is like kind of a ghost director on a lot of Christopher Nolan films, and like not a ghost writer, but he co-wrote a lot of Christopher Nolan's films with him. But he's definitely like the lesser known of the two brothers for sure.
interesting.
And I don't understand why, but Jonathan Nolan has an American accent.
I feel like one of them is lying,
He doesn't have a British accent.
and it's
You know
probably
what's funny is there's
Christopher.
some people who like when they move to a place, they can very quickly like they'll end up like losing certain things. I've heard of people who never break out of their accents that have moved to the States, and other people who have even moved to different parts of the country, and all of a sudden you see them in 3 months and they've got a Southern accent, and you're like, wait, what?
And then we have the third Nolan brother,
There's a third
Matthew Francis.
Matthew Francis Nolan.
And is he doing anything? I don't think so.
Matthew chose a life outside of film,
Wow.
according to the Daily Mail.
He works at Burger King.
Oh, he was arrested by FBI agents in 2009?
Whoa.
That's what that first thing you clicked on said, Millie.
Fact check: is Christopher Nolan's brother a suspected hitman called Oppenheimer? I'm gonna say no.
What?
Fact check? What is this Newsweek
Go
website?
down.
This is cancer.
His fugitive, go up. Learning that down. The tweet.
Oh,
Learning that Christopher Nolan's fugitive hitman brother's codename is Oppenheimer is actually what turned me around on him entirely as an artist. Immediately made me want to revisit everything.
Mr. Chow?
That was Mr. Chow who said that.
So clearly a reliable
Yeah.
source.
dude, the internet is just not what it used to be.
Interesting.
This is
It's
just
almost
garbage.
true. The ruling needs context.
Wow, it's almost like all truth needs context. I guarantee you, this is just like fucking AI bullshit.
Hold on. Is Christopher Nolan's older brother a hitman or not?
It sounds like he went to jail.
At least, right?
At least.
Come on, guys.
That's not this one. That's the other one. This is the director. Yeah. Here we go. It said his sordid past. You know. There we go. We got a hitman who murdered a man in 2009 in Costa
Batman,
Rica.
Robin, and murder.
For kidnapping. Was wanted for kidnapping and murder.
I don't understand this.
Christopher
This
Nolan's
has
brother
gotta
was
be-
accused of being. There's multiple websites. A hitman who murdered a U.S. financier.
You know how many times we've broken
It
down
said
Nolan
Robert
and we don't know
Cohen.
any of this? Christopher Nolan's brother linked to murder. Okay, so just linked.
That's today.
The Republic of Costa Rica has requested the extradition of Matthew Francis Nolan, pursuant to the extradition treaty of
Jeez.
Costa Rica. So the man fled to the Bahamas. What if this is
Nolan's older brother was accused of being a hitman who murdered U.S. financier in Costa Rica in 2005 and was caught trying to escape from Chicago jail as he faced extradition. And you'll never guess his fake name,
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. This is
God.
How is this not exposed?
what the
Breaking
fuck?
news.
This is every website. This is real, guys. This is
This is now canon.
We're on to something.
How if this has not breaking the mainstream? What?
Especially with like, doesn't need to go mainstream, but like how you guys haven't heard of it, so how much you sent to this
And
guy?
it's Oppenheimer.
Right?
He made a movie called Oppenheimer.
Like not once I didn't
Was
hit a
the movie
headline.
about his
I didn't
brother?
even know he had a third brother, or a second brother rather. I didn't know there's 3 of them.
Because he's
Tries to hide that.
laying low. This is now canon for Nolan for me. I don't care if it's true or not. This guy might not even be real.
So why do Christopher and Jonathan have different accents? I'm curious about
Click
that.
that one.
Jonathan dropped his accent after he moved to
Yeah.
Chicago as a child. So they grew up separately, one in
Yeah.
the States and one.
Christopher attended University College in London.
But I've also heard of like where people will move, they'll assimilate like really quickly, and sometimes they'll lose their accent and never look back. And there's
I
other people who will go
I
places.
hate
and
people like that.
You think it's just a choice?
Like when like somebody moves to the UK and then all of a sudden they have a British accent within a year.
Think they're trying too hard.
Yeah. They're like, well, I went to go get a cup of tea.
And it's like really bad, too.
It's,
It's not even like a
you
good
lived in Reno.
Don't fucking fake it.
You have no accent. It doesn't work like that.
This took a weird turn.
I rang you on the telly.
I rank you. You didn't answer.
I was going to invite you to my flat.
We should do for
Like
some
in the
time,
worst British accent ever.
some crumpets and tea.
It changes which region.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Crikey.
it's Australian.
I'm gonna go see some shrimp down on the barbie.
What the fuck?
I spent some time in London and turned Australian, and a bad one at that. Like, where was this man?
I think we should do a
So
whole
Matthew Nolan, huh? Hitman.
Oppenheimer. There we go.
Was he convicted or is he like?
Well, he went to prison.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
He escaped his prison in Chicago, apparently, and fled to Costa Rica.
So
Funded surely by Christopher Nolan.
Interesting. 2005, that was right after he made Batman Begins.
interesting.
He used his Batman Begins money
They
to,
filmed that in Chicago.
to break. They did, actually.
They did.
Wait a minute. They actually did.
They totally did.
Christopher Nolan used his Batman Begins money to get resources to break. That's why he filmed in Chicago,
Yeah.
so he could be close to the
He's
source.
like, I need to film a scene in the.
There's-
How long was it before we made our massive revelation?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see. But Christopher Nolan has a brother that's quite interesting.
Very
You
interesting.
thought Christopher Nolan was interesting.
And
He's got a
Christopher
brother.
Nolan's other brother was interesting. Just wait till you learn about the third one, Mr. Oppenheimer. He's
You might want to center the camera too while you're up, Kyle.
if you could.
But I've been paying attention to it. But yeah, it's it cut out when you said it was filmed in Chicago. Oh, so we barely lost. We maybe lost
Okay.
30 seconds. That's fine.
So we're saying it was filmed in Chicago to cover up him breaking his brother out of prison.
Yeah,
Basically,
that's exactly what it is.
because they need to film
You wanna
certain
center the
Batman
camera.
scenes in prison, under the prison in a tunnel. Then Christopher Nolan dug. It was essential to the plot, although it never shows up in the movie.
It was essential, mission critical.
Mission critical to the plot.
I cannot believe that none of us have even heard a whiff of this.
How did he bury it so well?
Maybe the studios are.
That's
Maybe
crazy.
Maybe the studios are like hiding it.
Like,
so that there's
especially,
no drama.
you would think with the Oppenheimer movie, like we saw that post, you think that would have exploded. It's like, his brother is a hitman named Oppenheimer.
That doesn't make sense.
But
I mean,
no.
like, it's too close to like not for none of us to ever or even heard of it.
It's crazy. Damn. Revelations happening on the KD ratio.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a lot more, Kyle. Like quarter inch. Oh, okay. Well, we're good then. Boom,
Boom goes the dynamite.
boom, go. Yeah, there you go. That's a throwback.
I think we
Do
should
it, bitch. Dance for me.
dance monkey.
Sit on your fucking cheap ass chair. Drink your cola.
Friggin'
Off-brand
terrible
cola.
chair. 68 cents cola,
Cola.
from Walmart.
Get your cola.
Great value cola.
RC cola.
No. We ain't paying for RC.
That's too
Just
expensive.
get cola.
There was a point in time where you could buy great value cola from Walmart for 68 cents.
I think
Was
I
it
remember
great
what it
value
looked
or
like.
did it just say cola?
It was great value, but it said cola. That was
literally
it.
it was just cola.
Didn't it have like a blue
Yeah,
wrapper.
it was like a teal almost, a light
mhm.
blue, and it was 68 cents for 2 liter.
You can get a
Good luck.
diet cola.
You can't even buy a bottle of Coke for 68 cents.
I'm pretty sure this of the 68 cents, 50 cents of that cost was in the plastic bottle.
Probably.
The water was from the sewers of Chicago.
What?
For the soda.
Oh God! What the? They,
Where's
they carbonated sewage.
Yeah.
And put flavor in it.
Cola.
Dude, enough flavoring you can't taste it, right?
From the bums of the Chicago River.
The bums of the
Yeah, 'cause
Chicagoans.
it's shit. The bum.
That's
The bum.
disgusting.
I think we should do a whole episode in accents.
I am the worst at
I
accents.
will
It's so bad.
undoubtedly offend a lot of people. Not on purpose, but my accents are just that bad.
I can't do accents
No?
at all. No. Terrible.
There was an accent right there.
Yeah, that was-
Tell me what isn't.
That was clearly South African.
Mm-hmm. I had to go into my roots for that one.
German.
Zing zing.
I feel like I could really go down this rabbit hole with Matthew
Matthew
Nolan.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's real.
It's real.
Confirmed here on this podcast.
They're nothing. We are the source of all information.
Let's do some research. Let's we'll come back to you with our
The meme, like from It's Always Sunny, where he's got all the strings on the walls and he's looking all crazy.
Pepe Silva.
I don't know that reference.
Oh, that's who he's looking for.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was thinking of like another cartoon
Pepe
character or
meme.
something.
I was thinking Pepe meme. Right?
Yeah,
That's the green fucking frog dude or whatever. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is the
I was like, that's the wrong meme, man.
like Pepe Silva? Like I was like, wait, okay, Pepe like Silva the fighter. I'm like, is Pepe
Silva.
I was like, is Pepe? I'm like, all right, sure, I'll just go with it.
It's a combination of everything you've ever known.
Wow, that's deep. Let's talk about interest rates. No, I'm just kidding.
They are high or what? So will you be watching Fallout?
It's on my list. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I do know
I've
how
seen
it
lots
ends.
of clips, but I haven't watched it.
I know,
You know how it ends?
Spoilers.
Of course, you fucking know.
I know how it begins.
He's the spoiler guy.
I am.
No, him.
Oh, you're 100%.
I've never once looked up a
But
spoiler.
you're
How-
the kind of guy
How
that
have I become the spoiler guy? When have I ever looked up a spoiler?
moving on. Okay, 5. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Name anything
Oh,
that's
it's
come
because
out
of the
recently.
spoiler on my truck.
Yeah, you got that nice spoiler on the
On the
truck.
For the wind draft.
On the bed.
Aerodynamics.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know. Was it about Fallout?
No.
Spoilers?
Oh no, I feel
Victory
like you're
says
so
I'm the
dialed in.
spoiler king.
Kyle, yeah, absolutely is. No, I feel like you're tied so much into Reddit and all like I feel like you have joined 50% of all subreddits that exist, and so you spend like at least 6 hours a day on Reddit. So if there's ever like a side pocket discussion of something, you're gonna accidentally hit the scroll on it and be like, "Oh fuck, I spoiled it."
Yeah.
Whoops, my
Spoiled
bad.
it.
Because it's like I have the Fallout just
100%
subreddit.
He hadn't even fucking want. Oh, okay, it's just from the
Just
game.
from
though,
the game.
They
Okay,
have
okay.
the flags on it though, so you have to click on it to see what.
But the title's like, I can't believe they did this with Fallout New Vegas. And I click on it.
What's this?
hmm.
That's the monkey brain.
I saw this meme where it's just like, Fallout 3, I have to find my father. Fallout 4, I have to find my son. Fallout New Vegas, I gotta find that fucker who shot me. Like, because it's such a totally wild story compared to the other one.
It's Chandler Bing
Yeah,
Really?
Matthew Perry voices the bad guy.
because
in
he
Fallout
loved
New Vegas.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he does like a terrible job, not gonna lie. Like,
It's not good.
it's iconic mostly because of memes.
Yeah.
But like his delivery as Benny is like mid.
It's like not as bad as NBA.
Oh no, it's not
What
like that
we
at all.
watched. You gotta go half court and follow the people. I don't know.
what we gotta go, dude. It's like-
Fallout New Vegas. I not gonna lie, I did try and go back to New Vegas not too long ago, and I do feel like this is one of the ones that it was hard to because of just how dated it is. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it's honestly not my favorite Fallout.
No, I loved it, but it's very dated now.
Yeah,
and it's
I-
you have to forgive a lot.
Yeah, you kind of have to get in that mentality of it's gonna look like crap. I went back to it probably last time I went back to it was probably 2-3 years ago, and I did a playthrough. I love that game. I
love Obsidian.
I can't wait for the Avowed. Right, is what it's
Yeah.
called. Although
I'm gonna forgive it. It looks not great. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna forgive it because I love Obsidian. I'm playing through right now on a second playthrough of not second, like probably like fourth playthrough of the Outer Worlds.
fourth playthrough.
Yeah, I've beat it like 3 times.
Is that what you're playing right now?
I am playing Outer Worlds right now.
What are you playing right
Although
now?
I'm about to start over because I accidentally, you know how like that game, there's things that can happen. You get like extra perk, but then a permanent debuff.
Uh-huh.
I accidentally clicked yes on one where it made me like stupid.
Oh no.
And
Nice.
there's nothing you can do. You can't raise that once it's there.
Oh no.
And so I like it's ruining the game for me because in Outer Worlds, your character can actually be so dumb that there's dialogue options to be dumb. It literally will be in parentheses. It's a special dialogue option that says dumb. And so like whenever I see that, it pisses me off. And I'm like, I need to.
Who
there
would want
were-
to have a dumb playthrough?
It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that's actually, if you're speedrunning the game, that's the quickest way to do it. Because there's a point in the game that's like literally like in the middle where you have to skip jump this like giant ship to a new area. But if you're too stupid to know how it works, you fly it into the sun and the credits roll because you and all your party dies. And so when people speedrun the game, they have to be dumb to get that ending.
Fallout New Vegas was the same way. They had a like your intelligence stat, and then if you were dumb, it would change like intelligence checks. The dialogue would be like, I think there's one where it's just you aren't even saying words. You're like, duh, duh.
What?
Yeah.
Your character can be that dumb.
But you're just still wielding the gun, running up and down. Yeah, nice. You can't even talk.
Yep. Can't talk, but he's
Okay.
got a good sense of justice.
Nice. Great moral compass.
Great moral compass.
Terrible
The stats that I
converser.
in every RPG that I always put a bunch into is
Strength.
dialogue, specifically
Yes.
specifically like persuade, because
I
that
love
can really
Skip
get
so
you
much.
through a lot, no matter what the RPG is.
I don't want to talk about it forever because we talked about it already, but I'm playing Baldur's Gate still. I beat it finally.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
You're the only person in the world that would respond like that
I know.
to Baldur's Gate 3.
So sorry.
I am in love with it. I want to. So I
That was the reaction from our fans.
There's no massively multiplayer online elements to Baldur's Gate 3.
There's no
Not a-
min maxing.
What are we doing?
It needs quality. Like, I need a bedroll, please. Thank you very much. I don't want to
Please.
role play.
I don't give a fuck about camp.
I don't want to go to camp.
Talk
Are
to
you
these
really?
fucking guys.
Are you gonna make me talk to every character? That's so stupid.
Why is
You know,
everyone
Billy-
trying to fuck me? Stop. I don't care about having sex in this game. I just want to play the game.
I just want to kill.
I just want combat.
Do you get stats from fucking chicks? No. Let's get out there and fucking boom boom.
You kind of sounded like
Napoleon.
Kip from from Napoleon Dynamite, his brother.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's who Kip is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Hey
did.
guys.
You're gonna go.
Napoleon, don't be jealous. I've been chatting online with hot babes all day.
Gonna go meet your girlfriend down at the bus.
That's right.
Go.
LaFonda.
LaFonda.
Yeah.
Who's real?
Real. And they get
Real.
married at the end.
Yeah.
Her family's all like disappointed too in the crowd. They're like,
Because of his outfit.
just who he is as a person.
Him. But yeah, Baldur's Gate. I finished my playthrough as a ranger, and
I'm surprised you made it through.
I made it through finally. I'm already planning my next playthrough. I probably want to do.
I'm surprised you're not burnt out. After I beat it the first time, I had to take a break.
I'll probably take a break. But I think I want to do like a warlock dirge, and I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense lore wise. Somehow.
Dirge is the best playthrough.
Yeah, like maybe you made a deal with a
Dirge?
fae.
Dark Urge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've abbreviated that.
We have their Shart,
Sharp for Shadowheart.
Bazel. I mean,
Okay, that's ridiculous. Basil.
There's Clack for Karlak.
there's
Gale. There's G.
there's
Styrian.
Ass. Asta. But I have to say, Asterion side mission, I understand now why he won the game, the voice actor of the year. His side mission is
Especially when he goes into his like dialogues at the end there.
he seemed like it seems like they put a ton of effort into that too. Like when you
compared
it
to Will's,
Oh yeah, Will's is like
nothing.
I know.
Like,
Will's is just him standing there. Dad, I don't want to disappoint you. It's like, shut up, Will. You can't even decide about your own fucking fate.
boring.
Boring Will. But
Most
yeah.
interesting part about Will is Mizora.
Yeah. And you get banger.
I like when she just chills at your camp and you're like, leave. And she's like, no. And you're like, fuck. You can't even like make her leave. Just chilling there.
And then I really enjoyed, for some reason, I didn't pay attention the first time, or maybe I had the volume turned down or something. But when you go in the House of Hope, the final fight against Raphael,
The music?
the music,
Did you not? That's like one of the most memorable parts.
I phased over it the first time, I guess. But he just starts singing. The bad guy, like he's a demon, and he starts singing during his final fight because he's like that powerful, I
so
guess.
disconnected from it. He's just having fun with
Yeah,
it.
but you kill him. So yeah,
Because you're the main character. And the main character is always the most OP.
That's right.
You know
That's
the BAFTAs, which is like the British equivalent of the Oscars? They have a video game category. Like they have a whole video game awards, but it's BAFTAs. And so the guy that voices what's his name? Raphael, he won for best supporting character.
Wow.
Um
Interesting.
And his speech was actually, when he talks, he sounds just like Raphael. Like he's not even acting. That's who he is. And he goes on this whole like thing about how like acting in video games is like giving him the most freedom of like he's like he doesn't understand why any actor wouldn't want to do it, and like it was actually a good speech, and they gave him like 6 minutes to talk. They weren't booing him off immediately.
Turning on the
Like,
music.
yeah. But yeah, the BAFTAs have a whole video, and I was watching it, and it was actually kind of cool. It felt more about the actors than the Game
More
Awards
respectful.
does. Yeah, Game Awards feels more like an ad now. Like
It is.
Definitely.
it's like ad space. It's not even about the awards.
Congratulations. Now, up next, we have a trailer for the upcoming.
Move off stage.
Yeah.
Right.
And announce the trailer. We got Nicolas Cage.
Some random
What?
dude. Yeah.
Al Pacino. It's like, what the fuck?
Like just because he's a big name does not
Timothy
mean
Chalamet.
it's relevant. Like
I never played a video game in my life, but let's go ahead.
it's not as bad as Al Pacino at the Oscars.
Oh God.
That's what I was thinking of right there, too.
And he did the Game Awards too.
I know he did.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is he like his agent's like?
It's Al
Just
Pacino, one
keep
of the
him
most
relevant.
recognizable things, and he just had a kid, so he needs some money.
Honestly.
Makes sense.
I love though when he's all right, and
It says up.
it doesn't even announce the nominees, and
My eyes.
my eyes see Oppenheimer.
And they're like,
Okay.
Okay, fuck it, we'll go. It was like hella awkward. Like, what do you do? Like, what the fuck? The pinnacle award, and you don't even get a nod.
Don't even announce the nominees. Just
Oppenheimer.
he's literally on stage for like 20 seconds, not even, and he doesn't even like. That's the first thing he says. All right, my eyes see Oppenheimer.
You're like one job.
And it's not like he hasn't been in the film industry
No.
forever.
I know.
Like he should know how it works. Like it shouldn't be that hard.
Maybe
to-
he had to go to the bathroom really bad. He was shitting in his diaper.
he just had a kid.
He probably has
He
a diaper.
just had a kid.
He probably.
It's disgusting. He was like 80 years old.
Al Pacino in his diaper, Billy.
Dude, I fucking can't, man. Hollywood is so gross to me, dude. It's such a bunch of fucking losers,
Of
man.
course,
It's like pretty
British-
losers. That's what I see it as.
You know who's the celeb that's got all the tea that's just been dishing lately? Cat Williams,
Really?
the comedian. Yeah,
I love Cat Williams. I
he's
love his
been
comedy.
he has been dishing.
Dishing tea.
like out
on-
heat or
Yeah, and all the shit that he's seen in Hollywood and all this
Really?
stuff. Yeah, and sometimes he just seems a little crazy, but other times you're like, damn, that actually seems like that could have happened. that's real life. And
It's
he's
like
been
so
talking about all this
specific.
like Diddy stuff.
Oh,
That's been
shit.
going on
Yeah.
and all the stuff that he personally like saw and is involved in, and that kind of thing. Like, and he's like, "Did he ask you to party?" You say no, like because everyone knew apparently. Like he was saying, everybody knew that was going on, and like, anyways, that's besides the point. But
That's crazy, man.
Of course, the British would put us to shame with their award shows.
dude, it was way better. It was about the actors. It was each and like nominee had like a good amount of time. I think what's his name won for best actor? Miles Morales.
Oh, really?
I think so. What's his name?
What? It doesn't even make sense for like.
Najee. How do you say his name? Something Najee Peters, something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense. Like the Game Awards being online, like a streaming event. It could be as long as it needs to be. You know, it doesn't need to be. Like you could give as much credence to the actors and stuff as you wanted. It doesn't need to fit within like a cable time.
It doesn't
slot.
need to be a live show.
Right. It could be pre-recorded
Yeah.
and they could break down the segments.
That's a good
and
point.
But
they
I
do
think
whatever they want.
I think Jeff Keighley, he wants it to be live because
I
Oscars
see.
is live.
I like it
that's
being
fine.
live, I guess, but why do they have a time constraint?
If you want to give like an extra 5 minutes to every,
It's
of
not
the
like they're
main-
paying for airspace on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's not like or YouTube.
or just
like,
do what the Oscars and all these other awards do is like the ones that people care less about. You know, that you just take them out of the show, and then the bigger awards you give more time to.
they kind of did that.
They definitely
Yeah.
did because they
They
have
went
like
speed
hundreds
round.
of awards.
All right, we
Yeah.
got this. They won.
But,
Okay.
like the
That felt
Oscars-
like
the
disrespectful
Oscars-
though.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So the
Yeah.
Oscars, they don't do nods like
Yeah.
that. They just have a day before event that you can like. I don't know if you can watch it online, but it's like they get like all the people that win those categories. They have their own event for that, and then the main one is the 10 categories, 15 categories
Yeah.
that everybody's like really wanting to see.
So,
So you could just narrow it down that way.
what I'm
You don't
thinking.
need to give a fucking award to every single genre.
What I'm thinking. Jeff Keighley, reach out to us. We will help put
He's
together
doing just fine.
the Video Games Awards.
BAFTA's
They're-
been doing it for 20 years. Game Awards for 20 years. The BAFTA Game Awards.
Really?
Why have I not heard of this
Since
until this year?
2004. What came out in 2004? Game wise.
2004, Rayman.
Rayman.
So best animation was Hi-Fi Rush.
That's yes.
Best artistic achievement was Alan Wake 2. Best audio achievement was Alan Wake 2.
Nice, nice.
Best game was Baldur's Gate 3.
Of course.
British game, Viewfinder. Debut game, Venba. Best evolving game, Cyberpunk. Family game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Game Beyond Entertainment, Chia. Never heard that one.
This is content.
Game design, Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver,
Yeah.
man.
Multiplayer, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Music, Baldur's Gate. Narrative, Baldur's Gate. New IP, Viewfinder. So they only have 2 like actor awards: best performer in a leading role and best performer in a supporting role.
Who won the leading role?
The Miles Morales,
Oh, okay.
and then best performer in a supporting role was Andrew Wincott, who voices Raphael.
Raphael. Wow.
Technical achievement was Legend of Zelda. Oh, and Player's Choice, Baldur's Gate 3.
Easy.
We got to check out the BAFTAs next year.
Yeah.
If you remember this,
When did they happen? Is it around the same time?
like a couple weeks ago.
Bless you.
I'm not on the British radar.
Me neither.
There's just
should be
so
after
much
your British
shit.
accents you were doing earlier.
There's so much shit out there, dude. It's like, how tied in are we to this, like the games stuff and a whole event? Just you don't even hear about it. Doesn't,
we're
doesn't
in
make any
America.
noise. And that's really all that
Clearly,
matters.
we're better than everyone.
We said British people go away.
Mhm.
We don't
We,
want
you know, back in 1812, when they came back to try and take us down, they burned the White House down. I've never forgiven them for this.
I love how you said that mid laugh. Burns the White House down. Speaking of the White House, I saw Apple TV. There's a series called Franklin. It's about Ben Franklin. It's got Michael Douglas as Ben Franklin.
No shit. Do you know about
Michael
Ben
Douglas?
Franklin? Ben Franklin's
Dude was
one
wild.
of the craziest.
Yeah,
fucking-
I'm pretty sure most of it's gonna be untrue and make him look like. I don't know. I imagine those shows usually make them look better than they are.
Well, not lately. I would say that the show's been
So it
pretty
might be.
honest. But I also feel like
better than they
it
are.
is important to look at people through the context of the time they were in.
100%.
Otherwise, there's a lot of people that contributed many great things to society that were you'll find no matter who it is, they weren't great people most of the time, and sometimes they were. But I'm not overly interested in vilifying people from a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
Was Ben Franklin a bad dude?
He wasn't like a great guy.
Well,
Really?
I was just saying you know how
Morally, I don't think he was like downright.
he did a lot of great things, but I think
I've
those
never heard
shows a lot of time turn into almost like an idolization of what we think he was versus he might have been like a little bit of a shyster. He might have been a little shady
Little shyster.
because he got stuff done, but he might have
100%.
he might have been getting stuff done on the wrong side. I know he had like I think he had probably drug addiction to something.
He had syphilis really bad from all
Yeah.
his
he
mistresses.
had a major sex addiction.
Yeah.
And he was, this is one of my favorite things about him. He was into older women, and he himself was old as dirt. And he's still like, there's letters from him that he would write to like chicks older than him, and it was so fucking wild, dude. So raunchy. No, the guy was crazy. I mean, like,
Yeah.
crazy awesome, in my opinion. Like, he did what he needed to do. I was reading something recently about him that, like, they sent over some money to help him, like, get a deal done with, I think it was, like, France or something like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like $500,000 extra was missing, and it was like, don't worry about it. It's like, that's the price for admission or whatever. And it's basically just blown on hookers and fucking drugs.
He's very
And that's how
outside
he
of
got
the.
everything done, basically. He
He's
would just
very
party with
outside of the
everybody.
box thinker though too, and like some of the like his inventions he came up with like were like really like interesting. The things that he like
Like the key and the
thought
kite.
about. Yeah, I mean like
Bifocals.
bifocals. He
National Treasure, the 3D.
yeah.
God. Yeah, the
He was also one of the founding fathers that was actively against slavery, didn't have slaves, at least when he was an adult. He had slaves when he was a child, but as he grew up, he did not have slaves. Him and John Quincy Adams, which for the time, that was very radical to be against that. I'm sure there was lots of people that were, but like it just wasn't,
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. So like there are lots of things, I think, and it's important to, when you're looking at history, it's important to understand and say, okay, yeah, there's this part of this person that would not be acceptable, okay, or even morally right if it existed now, but also understand the context of what they did do for society and what they.
Yeah,
You know.
I think it's a waste of time to even like focus on that stuff. If they're a good guy, like honestly, I think when you look at history or you see somebody like a figure like that, I mean, one of the founding fathers did so much in his lifetime,
Yeah.
like really fucking crazy what he sort of accomplished and was involved in. To like, I like if you're doing like a thorough breakdown of like that dude's whole life, then maybe sure you should showcase a lot of that stuff. But I don't have a problem with like an idealization of what that person ever might be or what he was, because at the end of the day, like everybody's just people. Like of course he had fallible or fallible traits, like or things that like not really redeemable qualities. Okay, he was a womanizer and stuff like that. Who the fuck wasn't if they had power back then? There was nothing else to do but
Or
fuck.
now.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
nothing else to do but fuck. Like, come on, man. Seriously, like
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
That was his saying. A penny saved is a penny earned.
See, there you go.
Give a man a fish, feed him for a day.
That was his.
That was his. Teach
Oh,
a man to
shit.
fish, feed him for a lifetime.
There you go.
Let me fact check myself before I.
Those are completely
So
somebody
I
else.
don't have a, I don't really mind if it is like an idealization, like caricature of what the person might be, because at this point it's been hundreds of years.
Well, I
So you
just
kind of
think-
just need to look at them and just like, hey, that's something to aspire to.
Yeah.
Why knock it down unless it's for like a fucking research paper?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm not saying they add it to knock him down. I would just be interested to learn who he really was. Like when I watch a show like that, I would
okay.
rather see what actually happened than like Marvel.
Is it a drama TV series or is it like a biography?
I think it's like a drama TV series.
Oh, okay.
So I would rather. I understand they're going to bend the truth a little bit because it's drama, but I would rather learn something cool about Ben Franklin or something interesting that I never knew from watching it rather than just he was Captain America. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but I think we've had a lot of those shows, and I personally like the shows where they add a little bit of that realism in of like, so this is who he actually was.
So I was way off on the fish quote.
I was like, dude, I feel like that is.
He had a version of that he said, but
okay.
the quote itself comes from Lao Tzu,
Yes.
founder of Taoism.
Very close to Ben Franklin.
So like,
But even that
3,000.
isn't known 100%. That's just because it's such a broad quote that's
year
who they
did-
think is most attributed to.
What year was he that guy around?
Oh God,
Lao Tzu,
Lao Tzu.
probably
He
1000
was around
BC.
571 BC.
Yeah.
I was close.
571 BC. That's crazy. How old were you guys in that 571 BC?
Well, let's see.
Give or take a few millennia.
20 fun facts about Benjamin Franklin.
He only
He
had
was-
2 years of formal education.
He spent half his life in unofficial retirement.
I
Must
just
be nice.
people back then impressed the fuck out of me. Like you learn about these dudes, and most of them didn't come from formal. Like some were rich, some were poor, some were like didn't have any formal education. Some were just like
Well, especially
leaders
like
thrown
the
into war.
new world.
And then you see, like, they didn't have ChatGPT to help
No.
them, right? They didn't have a word processor, but then you see, like, the eloquence in which they spoke. I wonder what day-to-day conversations sounded like back then. Like, what was it as natural
Like
of a language
Hamilton.
as this, or did people speak in that manner? It's kind of wild.
Oh, this is a quote from, I didn't know this was Ben Franklin. This is a good one. There was never a good war or a bad peace.
There you go.
Wow. Deep.
I've definitely heard that. Don't throw stones at your neighbor if your own windows are glass.
Makes sense. Isn't that like, don't throw stones in a glass? Isn't there one about glass house?
Yeah, I think some of these are like appropriated quotes. I feel like he took them from. But lost time is never found again. What's more valuable than gold? Diamonds. Than diamonds? Virtue.
Virtue.
starting to get less good as I go down.
Most of the stuff we're seeing is that he was a ladies' man.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's so.
Okay, I had to double check myself. An apple a
Yeah.
day keeps the doctor away was Ben Franklin,
It
though.
was him. Okay.
Okay.
Like it's so fascinating to me learning about like 1776 and the revolutionary time in revolutionary America, because I feel like as a kid I might have learned that, or might have come like the teachers might have been teaching it, but I did not retain most of it.
Because that's the stuff they teach you when you're so young.
Yeah. And so like, I watched Hamilton, and watching Hamilton, yeah, it's a musical, but you learn some cool stuff that's actually real. And it's like, oh shoot, I didn't know that happened. Like what?
There's this podcast.
Katie Ratio?
That talks about, it's called the Katie Ratio. No, there's this podcast called History That Doesn't Suck. And I listened to this guy, he has a whole portion on, the whole podcast itself is from the American perspective. But he has a whole portion on the Revolutionary War. And it starts way back of when like George Washington was like really young. And George Washington himself is an extremely fascinating character.
Yeah.
Like
He's one of the major reasons as to why it all worked.
to start things off, when he was still part of the British military, he had his own chip on his shoulder because he was like 21 years old, and like something like 4 people died in his command, and all of a sudden he was in charge of like this group of like a bunch of people, and he was fighting like, I think this might have been the French and Indian War. Probably butchering history right now, but I think it was the French and Indian War, and he got cornered into a bunker, and he's like a kid basically, and he's commanding all these people, and then he goes out for negotiations, and then they do the whole negotiations like he couldn't read the contract, and so like he signed it, and from that point on British people were like shitting on him and was like, he lost this battle, blah blah blah, and he didn't really lose it. He like fought tooth and nail for like weeks, and in the rain, and like it was miserable. And then that was like the very beginning of like, fuck the British. Why did I just go through all of this, and then for me to make me out the way that and he stood like 6 feet tall at a time when like the average height was like 5'5". And so like he just looked like a mountain of a man. And like he was just like a very stereotypical like rugged American. He was like the first American. And the guy that does the podcast does a much better, like he's much better at storytelling and makes it very interesting. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, it's called History That Doesn't Suck.
Do you have a favorite fact about George Washington, Billy? Because I do.
A favorite fact?
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't want to be president.
That was gonna be mine. He had the forethought of like,
He had no interest in being the president. They
Yeah.
made him.
well, and didn't he say like, I don't
They
want
wanted
them to,
him to be a king, actually.
I don't-
Literally, and,
and
then
he-
he turned.
he stopped it.
Literally, he could have. That's why I was saying he's such a key piece in it, because he could have just consolidated the power and literally had another monarchy.
Yeah.
But he's the reason why we had 8 years, because after 8 years, he's like, all right, fuck this, and just gave it up. Like, that was not, like, I don't think the 8 years, 2-term thing, that came into play, because that's, FDR had 16, or I think he was elected 4 times, but then
There
died
was
early into it. But
it was because of, there was, during wartime, there was a special thing where you could
Expanded
be,
powers and stuff.
elected more than twice. But
and we've totally canned all of that.
yeah.
And like a lot of that shit came from him, like that structure and stability. It's kind of wild.
I know.
I don't like necessarily going all the way back to the revolutionary days, because it's I like more like recent history. I guess like post World War II to me is like the most fascinating, because
But
I
they
think
still call that like modern history.
yeah. Because to me, like with the Revolutionary War, like I feel like that kind of stuff happened all the time. Like there was like revolutionaries like all the time, and at that point, like the 1700s, basically Britain ruled the fucking world, because they had
Yeah.
like all the
conquered
navy.
everything.
They were like the only one with the navy.
Well, yeah,
They,
it was like
like-
the saying the sun never sets on England, because at one point that's how broad their
Their empire
was.
was. I mean, like all of India was British territory essentially.
Australia,
It's like crazy. Their
all those
influence.
islands.
What was it called? The
and-
Silk Road.
Yeah, did they have control of all that too?
I
Like
think.
it was
It's like the East Indian Trading Company was like their CIA kind of
Yeah.
like the government
Secret government corporation.
super secret or whatever. That whole thing is kind
And
of
then Pirates of the
fascinating.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Turn that into the whole thing.
Yeah, that happened actually.
There was Davy Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually he might be a real person.
But a squid face?
No, I think Davy Jones actually is a real pirate.
Yeah, Davy Jones is the lead singer of the Monkees.
Yeah,
Ah, yes.
The dude's name is Davy Jones.
there you go. So it is at least a real person. I like more like modern history because to me, like post World War II is the most fascinating era for like all of humanity because it's been historically by far the most peaceful era that like humans have ever seen since we've been able to sort of travel and move and do anything or communicate like that. It's just kind of crazy how peaceful it's been and seeing like a lot of seeing how that sort of came to be and essentially with the nuclear bomb. It's kind of wild. I mean, literally the US could have taken over the entire world at post World War II. Like everybody was pretty much beat up pretty bad after the two wars. And we were the only ones with nuclear power. Like we could have clipped the nuts of every other country. And literally the stuff that happened like in Japan is one of the most interesting examples of that, where you see for like the first time ever, instead of basically throwing our influence down their throat and enforcing like our culture and not so much our culture, but like
Heavily policed.
yeah, right? Like we rebuilt Japan. Like we helped them rebuild, and it went through like this crazy, like it was like the most successful model that's ever happened. And like Japan is like a thriving culture that has its own identity. Like it was amazing. We didn't take it over. We didn't claim it as a territory. Like we helped them rebuild them, and it wasn't without its pain points.
Yeah.
If you get into the history, it's actually kind of crazy what happened during that era. But if you take that's the thing about knowing too much. Like you can sit there and go, well, this word, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But if you take the 50,000 foot approach and just sort of look at a big picture, it's like that's a wildly successful model that worked out. And we did that across the U.S. because we were so afraid. World War II happened because of what happened with World War I, right? World War I, we gave a bill to Germany and completely fucked their civilization. Well, guess what? When you piss off 100 million people, Hitler happens, right? So let's maybe not do that with Japan, right? So like same kind of thing. Like we learned from those mistakes, and it was like the first time that we had a civilization, a global civilization that could then make like really, I guess, decent non-militaristic decisions to like rebuild cultures and communities and.
Yeah.
And it's been a fucking wildly successful model since then.
I think the most interesting history is not. I mean, American history is so short in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so there's some interesting points, but like the most interesting history is like long, like ancient history for me. Like, because
Like
that's
medieval,
like-
or what are you talking?
Like
probably even
dinosaurs?
pre-medieval.
Prehistoric?
No, not prehistoric. Medieval is not that old in
Dinosaurs?
comparison. But like
Talking human history or just history that you're
human history. Okay.
Okay.
Prehistoric. Pangea.
Ever heard of it?
You ever heard of it? I've been there.
We said the same thing.
What?
Ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Is that from something?
No, we just
We're just-
Pangea.
that's- we our cycles are synced.
I figured.
Yeah.
You both seem a little moody tonight
Yeah.
with that craziness that you were doing.
So wild.
so. But like what?
What era?
What era?
Egyptian?
I would say like ancient Rome
Ancient Rome.
is very interesting. But like ancient Egypt is so long ago. Like
Yeah.
their empire started something like 4000 BC, which is like, so I think we talked about this on the podcast before, but like the construction of the pyramids
Oh, I love this fact.
was further away from Cleopatra than Cleopatra is away from us, because that's how old their history is, which is insane. But one of the, I don't know what the exact time frame this is. I want to say it's around, look up Hannibal Barca. This guy was super interesting.
Hannibal,
Hannibal Barca. What was
just
the,
Hannibal?
played by Denzel Washington.
His full name is Barca, Hannibal Barca, in the Punic Wars, but
Carthaginian.
Okay, yes, this was
247.
BC. So 247 BC.
250
I was gonna say like around like 0, but 247 BC.
Interesting.
This guy would make a perfect movie. Maybe it looks like it might have
And they're
already
making one
been
about
made a movie.
they're making one with Denzel.
So this guy, he took a whole army of soldiers, and they were going into Italy, and it was like impossible during the the Punic Wars for Carthage to get into Europe that way. Like they kept losing. So he got a bunch of war elephants and took these war elephants over the Swiss Alps, and then attacked like Italy from the north. Can you imagine just a bunch of people riding elephants
Over the Swiss
over
Alps.
the Swiss Alps into your homeland? Like
fucking
holy
dedication.
shit. Like it was wild, and he won I think it was the Second Punic War, and there was multiple, and then people of Carthage ended up, I think, losing again after that. But that guy has an incredibly interesting story for a general of those times. And so that's the kind of stuff. The reason I think that like ancient history is interesting is because it's so long ago that it almost feels like akin to like a fantasy novel. Some of the stuff that you read that these people have done, which is, that's always cool for me. But.
Dude, like Europe has just never stopped being at war. Like there's always somebody like capturing and taking some shit.
Yeah, so if you look at it, so Carthage, it was like right here, like modern day North Africa, and he took his war elephants up above through what's now like Spain, went through the Alps, and then attacked Italy from above that way with war elephants,
It's crazy.
which is insane. So Denzel Washington's gonna play Hannibal Barca.
That's what it said on that post right there.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Denzel Washington can play whoever he wants. That guy's an amazing.
He'd do
actor.
great. I mean, I would watch it. Him as an old Roman Empire or Roman war general. My favorite time period. Interesting. So, Kyle's is way, way long ago.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite time period,
Most interesting.
but like
What
it's
do you
maybe the most interesting. I guess
To
I
you?
also like reading about the Renaissance as well,
Renaissance. Okay.
which is like a good 1,500 years after this.
Yeah.
But
So hold on. So Carthage was in basically like modern day
like Algeria and
Algeria,
Libya,
Tunisia, or whatever.
yeah,
Tunisia. I don't know how you pronounce
and
that.
they were at war.
And then they went through Spain and then came.
Came down through the top of Italy with their war elephants.
It's fucking
So
crazy.
they took their war elephants. They
The
got them
resources
across
needed for that.
where Morocco is, that little tiny where Morocco almost touches Spain. That's where they took their elephants across, and then they took them all the way. Like they took African elephants and then brought them into like. Can you like? How did he pitch this to
Imagine
the war
being a
council?
person never seeing an elephant and just like they're
like
riding
what
it.
is this?
It's a
beast?
demon.
That is like.
And that
It's
worked. That's
insane.
like modern day tank. They just
Yeah.
it's like a biological tank.
That's crazy.
Wow. What were you saying, Dylan? Sorry.
I was trying to think my most interested time period. I would say I'm always interested to learn about like ancient Greece. I'm really fascinated in ancient Greece and
Yeah.
kind of I'm more my fascination came in with like their mythologies. That's how I got hooked as a kid. But learning about the real history of it and like, Athens and 300 was cool.
Man,
You
those
know.
guys were like free spirits.
I know Athens was.
They were just like
Whatever happens, happens.
group sex all the time. They have orgies, man, woman. They don't care. They're just trying
They're
to
just living.
just living the dream. Probably all had STDs.
Probably. I would say that might be the one I'm most interested in. Although I really love going to like, out of all the museums, I like World War II museums the most. Probably more than like Civil War or.
Because maybe I don't know.
Revolutionary War.
In a weird way, it still feels more relatable. Like I don't know. It's much easier to picture yourself in that time frame than it is in ancient.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'm mostly fascinated seeing like the old technology and seeing like that was a precursor to this, and just like it blows my mind some of the stuff that how unsafe it was, but they just did it, because they just had to do it for war. Like some of those howitzers,
Mm-hmm.
those are crazy. And they're big.
German technology was on another level. World War II. It's crazy.
Could you imagine your hearing?
Dude,
Be gone.
they didn't care.
You
about
didn't
that.
have hearing.
No, you didn't. They didn't even have like earplugs.
Your
I know.
life expectancy was so low that was never even a consideration. There was so much other shit like to worry about. It's like that was never even a thought.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, plug your ears. Oh, you're a little bitch. Don't
Yeah.
even need to do
You
that.
can't handle it.
Once it goes off a few
hands.
times, the ring stops. It goes away. Don't worry.
You'll get shell shocked.
Dude, World War One was brutal. Like,
Dude.
it was another level. Like,
Might be
the
the worst war ever.
atrocities that were committed in World War II were higher, like, as far as like what the Nazis
Yeah.
did and stuff. But like as far as actual battle tactics, World War One was ruthless.
Geneva Convention was
Man, I don't
invented.
even know. I think the atrocities might even been worse, dude. Chemical warfare, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mustard
like,
gas.
That's some of the
I'm talking
worst
about like on
fucking
civilians
shit.
versus like
Yeah.
as far as rounding up an entire race and killing them.
Yeah.
That's,
Yes.
you know,
That's pretty
but
bad.
like
That's pretty bad.
the war tactics specifically,
Mustard gas.
without regard for like bystanders or anything.
The whole trench warfare stuff.
warfare,
Like,
like-
that is.
That's
And
where
it's-
the term trench foot came from because
Yeah.
their feet would be wet for months at a time and then they just never recover.
You just cut, your foot's gone.
And trench foot like is so painful that it felt like we're constantly walking on knives. Like it's insane. Like and mustard gas, like you said, Dylan, like some of the like just the idea of fighting in a gas mask is so like grotesque because otherwise you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well,
insane.
and you were just expected to, like, they would just send you out there.
Dude, how about the Russian model? They'd send you out there, grab the gun off the guy that died before you, and hopefully he's got a bullet left in you.
Yeah.
There was an entire battle, I don't even remember which one it was, that like they would send you with one bullet because that's all you needed because you're probably going to die by the end of the point. And that's how like basically if you look at the history of Russia and like how they've won wars is just having more population than anybody else, and that's a huge advantage, and they just fucking flood you with bodies. It's kind of crazy, but the the idea that you would just like charge in about, and if you did it, they would just kill you there,
No.
which that happened all the time.
Yeah.
And so you just charge in, grab the fucking gun that's fallen off, and see how far you can go. And like that was what they did.
Could you guys
There's
imagine
no fucking way. What a life.
reaching the political power that you don't start to see other humans as like
See 'em as
individual
resources.
souls, but you see them as a resource. So it's like, what, we have 500 soldiers? Okay, send them to the front line.
You know what's funny?
They're
is
expendable.
I think that only could happen in that era. I
don't know.
I don't know if even like the most hardened dudes ever, like I'm sure there's a couple psychopaths, but like to have something like that work, you need a system of things, right? I don't know if that, and this is probably naive, but I don't know if that could work in today's era because of like things like video recording.
I
Like,
guess
I
certainly
think if
not
you-
in the way that superpowers did it before.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Like if you did that, like somewhere in the chain, somebody would see it. The soldiers would see it and like revolt earlier on it. Like I don't think it could get to that level ever again, because that kind of desensitization to like human life can only happen from like a war room where they're like literally a pawn on a table. All right,
Well,
we're
yeah.
gonna move them to that. How many? 200,000. Good. Send them in. We got plenty of resources there. We can't feed them this winter, so let's just fucking have them die. So, you know, then our numbers will be down, and then we can feed the ones that survive. Like, we expect a 70% casualty rate. Like, I think it can only be done at, like, when you're just staring at a piece of paper and making a decision. If you saw, like, any of the atrocities or like, the horrible shit, I don't know how that system, chain of hierarchy could exist with that level of treachery.
Yeah, like imagine being in the medieval times, like, and you had a castle, and you were looking at your game plan map with your chess pieces, and you're like you said, there's 500 people here. they're expendable. We can put them to die against these people while we take this front over here. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna send these guys in. They're gonna be really the diversion. We're gonna take this.
That was a huge problem with the French Revolution, with how disconnected royalty was from, from the common folk. Like, there's that they kind of made a joke out of it now, but the Queen, that famous quote, where they're like, they're starving to death, and she's like, well, let them eat cake, because she had no idea really what was going on before all the nobles was getting their heads chopped off. Like,
we need
crazy.
another one.
There's that quote from MASH that I always think of from Hawkeye, not Marvel's Hawkeye, but Hawkeye from MASH, where he says, I'm sure you've heard it before, where he says, I'm condensing it, but he says, war is war and hell is hell. And of the two, war is worse. Why is war worse than hell? Because there's no innocent bystanders in hell.
That's a good one.
If you think about the times too, what were the two professions? Like, you'd farm and generate resources for your homeland, or you would go to like war and you'd be like a soldier and stuff like that. And obviously there's like leatherworking and
tailor.
Yeah, exactly.
Smithing.
There's things, that kind of stuff, but like nowhere near the services. So that was the choice that you had. So if you weren't necessarily at war, I'm not sure how you command, like, people would probably get bored. I don't know. Like, that was just what you did, was your goal was that was the culture, right? Like, we need more land. Let's go conquer it.
Defending against raiders. And
there was no peacetime. It was like you were always taking something from somebody. It was just warring factions.
What profession do you think you guys would have had in medieval times?
I would have been a fucking jester.
Court jester. I bet you that was probably a highly coveted position.
Probably, and I could
entertainer.
Live in the castle.
Billy would be the bard.
Entertain.
Comedian or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just there for entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah, they probably live pretty. It's all things considered, pretty cush lives.
Oh yeah.
But
And if you wouldn't be like, you wouldn't necessarily be on the list to be slain if someone took over, because everybody wants to be entertained.
Yeah.
So
you just
kill
had
the
to-
jester. What do you mean?
You just had to prove your worth to the next
Exactly.
king.
You got to be funny or not. Oh, I don't speak your language. Kill him. Sorry. See ya.
Physical comedy.
Yeah.
People have always valued
Because
comedy.
when resources are that small, or that tight, and you can't generate, they might have seen it as such like a black and white thing, because sorrow and heartbreak was so common back then. Like, they would just think way more logically. So it was like, if we keep him alive, that's a mouth to feed.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, kill him, that's not a mouth to feed. Like, they almost probably, there was like a culture of like empathy. Like, I'll kill him, but humanely, and he won't starve to death.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being that, like, that you cannot generate enough resources to feed everybody. Like, because on your war over there, you fucking did scorched earth plan tactics, and you fucking lit every field on fire. So you can't feed the kingdom.
Yeah.
You're like doing them a mercy by killing them. Like, I bet you that these were like, they probably saw themselves as merciful, which is why you see some of the craziest egos when you look into the dictators from that era, because it was like they made those decisions. You're like, well, you killed 1 million people. It's mercy. I couldn't feed them.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just that, and it's like, well, they'd rather starve to death, and then starving people make bad decisions. Like, they'll steal from you, they'll fucking kill. Like, you don't want that. So the implications of what that means. If like people are starving, they're going to go crazy and cause havoc. So you kill them, and it's like a mercy thing.
Put them out of misery.
I guarantee you that's how they logic through that problem. It was just black and white. It was like not even a.
Well, and that's how
Probably wasn't even a political thing at that
That's
level.
what you had to. That's how you had to think in order to survive. If you were too empathetic, you'd die.
The
Crazy.
most. So I don't know what I would. If I'm thinking about it, it's so like you'd have to be a product of
what profession?
Half the time it's just like what you were born into.
I was gonna say,
right? Like, you don't choose.
I'm born into nobility. Like, no.
I mean, the reason we're all here, some point
Yeah, we
in
held
our
something.
ancestry, there
Somebody
was
lived.
some reason that we didn't die out. It is because we were ancient times. Somebody in our ancestry
Had
was
success.
some big shit. Like,
Someone found success in the crazy fucked up world. Right?
yeah. But the most common jobs, the 5 most common jobs of the medieval time was farming, carpentry, butchery, shoemaking, and then church-related work.
Interesting.
Church-related work.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you think the battles back then were as like epic as we've seen on TV? You know what I really think it is? Like 1 or 2 guys that were just fucking methed out of their head, and like really kind of being
Meth,
true
like,
warriors.
There's no way to actually make meth in the medieval times, but somehow
They found some way. They would just drink their asses off, get
Walter White
hammered,
time
right?
traveled.
And just fucking and just like go crazy. Like I don't think it was as epic as we like think it is, or they were as trained as we might think it is. I know they certainly didn't have like armor, so like the idea that like a whole army would be full of plate mail,
Yeah.
like that's not really.
I
like,
bet there
you
was
gotta be
probably
rich.
I bet it was mostly militia.
Foot soldiers were not like a lot of in wars. A lot of were mercenaries. A lot of them were hired.
Yeah.
Right. So like when you think of like a battle back then, like a battle over Rome, I bet if you looked at the numbers, it was like 500 killed, you know, or something. Like it was just like a transfer of power because at the end of the
500
day,
killed. Yeah, but the difference is they met on a battlefield. There was no guerrilla warfare in those days. It was literally meet
formal.
and
We'll do it like men.
attack. It wasn't until guerrilla warfare was really kind of in the last I would say 300 years started slowly becoming a thing.
Wasn't it?
A lot of it had to do, honestly, in the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Americans, the white people, being trained by Native Americans.
They taught him guerrilla
Uh,
warfare.
Like, why are you fighting this way? Just take
Yeah.
them out when they walk
Yeah.
by. Like, what are you doing? You
Kind
know?
of stupid.
That's pretty dumb. Like,
Just let him shoot you? Yeah. Why not?
did
So,
you just look
I
up
just
what
looked
the
up
biggest
like
battle?
famous. No, I just did. Oh my god.
70,000 people. There goes your theory.
Yep.
There goes. Well, this is
500.
like the most. I clicked on the first one, the most famous battle. So Romans, 70,000 people. I don't know what this is.
Roman and
This
Allied
is the Battle of
infantry.
Cannae or Cannae. I don't know how you pronounce that.
216 BC.
This is the Second Punic War.
Dude, the Second Punic War was when shit happened, man.
Yeah.
This is the same war with Hannibal Barca.
So maybe like we do.
70,000 people died in that. Oh, can you imagine a
I
field
know.
battle
I doubt it was a field battle. That's 70,000
across the
over-
whole?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
That'd be cool to see. Maybe not. 16,000, 20,000. So it goes a little bit higher than 500.
So for the what this is the Battle of Teutoburg Forest.
The
Casualties
Gauls.
were light. Romans, however, only a few escaped the massacre. Oh, because so they were like rounded up and then fucking executed.
Well, I do.
Can you imagine executing an entire city?
Do we know that the Romans fought the same way like the Revolutionary War? Where are you sure it wasn't just they charged at each other? Like
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think it was honorable back then. Like it was during the the American Revolution.
I don't know.
I think it was more we just keep throwing bodies.
Dylan, the Battle of Cannae,
Uh-huh.
that was one day.
That was one day.
It was
Holy cow.
80,000 people. Oh, excuse me. 86,000 people versus 50,000 people.
Holy.
And that was that was Hannibal Barca was the one that led the smaller amount of people.
50,000?
50,000 versus 86,000.
And 70,000 died.
I can't even comprehend what that would look like.
It was one of the most lethal single days of fighting in history of all time.
Well, that's why it's so famous. Also, do we think that maybe they exaggerated for
I
like
don't know.
historical purposes?
Somebody's
just-
writing it down.
just
puts an extra
imagine-
0.
Imagine a fucking football stadium of people with swords.
Yeah.
Going
Well-
up against another football stadium of people.
Well, and I mean, there's that quote of like, the history is written by the winners.
Yeah, so it's like you would scale up the battle proportions, to
And
make
that-
it epic.
The Battle of Cannae wasn't even the battle that he brought the elephants. And that was a whole separate battle.
They probably died off, and they're like, all right, now what? We're here, so let's fuck shit up.
The Punic Wars is nuts, man. And the fact that Hannibal Barca led a command of 50,000 people and still won against 86,000. Those are some badasses.
Yeah, so I am questioning though. I don't think they had. I think
How do you have the resources to feed and house and set up and plan 80,000 people? It's not like it's outside of a
I
city.
think you're underestimating the human will.
well, and I think a lot of it was raping and pillaging.
Yeah.
So they would just like, I guess they would just join, like walk into your house and be like, hey, I'm having dinner here
Yep.
tonight. And
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, oh God, my farm's right in the middle of the battlefield.
This is the type of thing that like is interesting if you like are like go to college to study histories, because they would write, you know, a report on like how do you think that this was done, and then there'd be like whole like theories that make
Breakdowns
sense and
and-
breakdowns of like at what point like they hit this town, this town, and this town and completely devastated them on their way, you know, that kind of thing. And
look at this. They got like, look at the armies. Here we go. Okay. They should be treated with figures for troops involved in ancient battles are often unreliable. And I've always heard it as Cannae, is no exception. They should be treated with caution, especially those for the Carthaginian side. The Carthaginian army was a combination of warriors from numerous regions and may have numbered between 40,000 and 50,000. The infantry comprised an estimated 8,000 Libyans, 5,500 Gautilians, I don't even know what that is, 16,000 Gauls,
these sound like aliens in like
I know.
Star Trek. Like
mainly Boyle and Inserbs. 8,000 were left at camp that day of battle.
like oh
And
shit.
8,000 several tribes of Hispania, including Iberians, Celtiberians, and Lusitanians. Hannibal's cavalry also came from diverse backgrounds. He commanded 4,000 Numenorians. Just kidding. Numidians, 2,000 Iberians, 4,000 Gallics, 450 Libyan, Phoenician cavalries, and Hannibal had an auxiliary skirmisher contingent consisting of 1,000 to 2,000 Balearic slingers. So like
that's-
slingshot, like we're going to fucking war with slingshots. That's
Well, they
so
probably had
ghetto.
the ball and
Like
the
David
rock.
and Goliath
Yeah,
type stuff.
that's
You
probably
couldn't do
sling.
this today. There'd be people like, I'm just gonna play on my phone.
You absolutely could not do that.
6,000 mixed nationality javelin linemen.
And that's all that remains to commemorate this battle. That one pillar.
There's
That's
no
what
way.
70,000 people died
There's
for.
no way.
Nice.
Like there it is.
We got a screenshot.
Yeah,
of this.
show.
This is like from the Wikipedia article. This is the one artifact that
Commemorates
is on the page.
this battle.
There it is.
That really sells it, you know.
I can just feel the souls of 70,000 dead soldiers.
So, like, look at that landscape, though. I could imagine.
I could see 70,000
Yeah.
people fighting in the, or over 100,000 people fighting in that landscape. I love how they were like, the numbers are exaggerated. It was actually only
40 to 50,000.
40 to 50,000.
It's like they're trying to nail it, exactly. Lightly equipped. They
Yeah, see, there's the sling. He has the rock with the rope around it.
Jesus.
Look at that. Imagine running into a battle with that many people. Like,
And you die to a fucking rock hitting you in the face.
I mean, those rocks were no joke.
Oh, that would rip your face off. Those
They
things
broke the sound barrier.
Yeah, those things.
That
can
blows
really,
my mind.
Really, they're slinging rock, man. They're really
Those Balearic slingers,
rock slangers.
slangers. Gonna go slang some rock, you know. Oh, they got the whole deployment plan here. We're looking at.
I just have a hard time believing. I'll share the screen again. I just have a hard time believing this is like 80,000 people just did this. It's just that's just insane to me. Like the scale of that is crazy.
Well, it's over 100,000.
50,000 to and then on
To
one side
80,
80,000. I mean,
80 some thousand. The reason the Romans had more is because they were the defenders. They weren't the invaders in this instance. So
I had.
I bet you a good 30,000, if not more, people on the Roman side didn't even want to fucking be there.
Oh,
They were probably
guarantee.
just trying to survive. Like,
these people are coming after us. Well, it sounds like they took a bunch of different like nationalities and different groups of people. So they,
that was a united front.
yeah, there was a war campaign like
Where was this even at? Where is?
Hey,
where is
all you
Cannae?
people.
in Italy.
Italy
Right down here.
first
close to
battle-
southern tip.
was up here. This is where they lost all their elephants that they brought, and then they just kept going.
So they were defending, like, I guess Rome is. Where's Rome at? Down here, right?
Yeah, but Rome wasn't Rome.
Not at this point.
No, Rome's to the left.
Oh shit! So they had already made it past Rome.
Yeah.
So Cannae was. Like,
I
were
could be
backed up?
completely wrong, but I don't think this was the all roads lead to Rome level yet.
of Rome. Yeah.
It wasn't like Roman Empire.
When did
is
Rome become Rome?
When did Rome become Rome? They were still the Roman Empire, so
Okay.
they were. I
It
mean,
was
they were
8th century
around
BC.
for
It was
sure.
around for hundreds of years.
When were they at their
Their peak.
The
their
Roman.
peak? Though
It was only during. It was a Roman Republic at that time. It wasn't the Roman Empire. It was the Roman Empire came after this.
the Roman Empire, right? Wasn't until like AD times.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. Because at this point,
Hannibal.
The Roman
dominates
Republic.
Rome. So where was Hannibal from?
Carthage. He's Carthaginian, which was like
North Africa.
North Africa,
Yeah.
modern day
And he
North
was like,
Africa.
I want to take that little sliver.
Well,
of
this is
land.
the second Punic War, if I remember right.
I want to take that little land that looks like Florida.
If
Yeah.
they knew Florida at the time. If I remember right, the first Punic War, the Romans won, and so this was sort of like a retaliation that Hannibal was like,
It was- yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So that's how he was able to
I'm
like.
back.
I think it was like
And he dominated Rome, and then very quickly after Rome became the Roman
A
Empire.
superpower.
it wasn't him that did that though. I think he lost it shortly after.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, every
Yeah.
15 minutes you look at this thing and somebody else is conquering it, and like every year it's so crazy to see like the there was a video online of like showing like the map of the world and showing it scale up and down of like who owned what territory over like the course of human history. It's fucking insane how fast things expand and collapse.
And
Like
then-
the Mongolian era.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Like like oh, he took over everything. Oh, and then it completely collapsed. Okay.
I
Crazy.
just feel like cinematically, I'm surprised that this wasn't made into like an HBO series or something at some point already.
I know.
You know, like
That would make a great
too soon.
movie.
too
too
s-
soon.
Too soon.
don't
those-
You
disrespect the
can't-
dead.
Yeah.
Those 7,000 lives.
70.
No, it's
70.
animal abuse because of the elephants, and we
Yeah.
don't.
Oh,
It's
okay.
too
Yeah.
much.
Did they ever? I mean, I'm sure they have. When was the last time they made a movie or a show about Gilgamesh?
Oh
don't know,
god,
but
I don't know
they've-
if I've ever even seen one.
They've
I've seen like
definitely
historical
had
stuff.
to do some.
Because Gilgamesh, that fascinates me too.
First civilization.
The first story, like that blows my mind. Or then, well, that we know of, anyways. You know, it's like the oldest one we have. But like,
There's only one movie in history based on the Epic of Gilgamesh,
really,
and it's from 1975.
Of course.
made in. It's Hungarian.
it's Hungarian.
Yeah.
Why
Is
has
that-
nobody made Gilgamesh?
I don't know.
I don't know how much we know about it. Like we have some writings from that era, right?
We have a whole book.
Yeah, which is like
Isn't Gilgamesh considered like the first hero?
It's the hero's
story?
journey.
It's
Yeah.
like every hero's journey is based or is
because
has a foundation in Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
they defined like morals. Like that was like the first time like they described like the moral compass of
Yeah.
like what a good person should be, and yeah,
Even though it's a little skewed.
for
Little
that
bit.
era.
Yeah.
Remember,
Every
look
good
at it from the
person-
That's-
context of the time.
Every
it was
good
written.
person owns at least 10 slaves. yeah,
Yeah, it says that.
that says that
yeah.
like right below like treat others with respect, own slaves.
Do you know that Bad Friends podcast with like Bobby Lee?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
So there was a clip from that where he was like, Koreans, we might be, whatever, but at least we never had a history of oppression. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we never owned slaves. And like, bullshit. And then like he looks it up, and it was like, Koreans have the longest unbroken chain of slavery ownership in history, spanning almost 2,000 years. And he reads that and he's like so baffled and like taken aback. So like, it's hard to define exactly.
Dude,
like
slaves were like commonplace. Like, you think these soldiers were like had a pride for their country? No, they probably were enslaved into it.
They probably did not want to. They were probably
sold
scared to
the
die.
Army. Yeah, exactly.
They were children.
Well, what else was there? Again, what else was there to do? How else were you going to eat? You were either going to steal it, which the penalty for thievery, death. The
or
penalty
chop
for
your hands
starving,
off. Chop your hands
death.
off.
The penalty for you go hang out with your cousins at Christmas time. Boom, you get the cold and you die of fever. Like it was just horrible.
Well, and
Everything
they
fucking
would
sucked.
sell their children. A merchant family or something was like, "Sorry, Bobby, you got to go to war. We're selling you to the army."
Crazy.
I think if there was a movie based around the Second Punic War with Hannibal,
Sounds like there is.
I almost feel like it would be more interesting to tell it from the perspective of not Hannibal, but from just like a soldier.
Probably. I mean, that's why I love 1917 so much.
Because it's just a guy.
It's
He's
just a
courier.
guy, and it's so riveting to watch him. He's nobody. He's not a general. He's just a foot soldier, and just seeing him go on his mission is amazing.
I was running.
Forrest Gump is in that movie.
Well, where can people find us?
They can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, any major podcast listening platform.
Flat?
No.
Yeah.
You were rattling that off. I love it.
But you can also come watch us live right now, although we're ending, on YouTube, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about a bunch of nonsense. And, we went all over today. We started with Netflix movies. Then we went to Oppenheimer, the hitman brother of
That fucked us
Christopher
up.
Nolan.
That fucked us up.
We
then from
really
there-
could use some more structure. It's very unprofessional.
I am not. My whole life is professional. I could use some
Unstructured.
Unstructured chaos.
please.
It's the worst
Yeah,
kind.
so come.
I like formalized.
Isn't by definition
Formulaic.
chaos unstructured?
Yeah. For some unstructured or structured chaos, you can tune in, watch us, leave a comment, leave a like.
Yeah.
We'd really appreciate it.
That's right,
Yeah.
baby.
And remember, guys, with the good KD, you get the
Dubba 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 dubba.